Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, September 12th, 5:29 a.m. Central Time. Pretty quiet trade in the grain markets this morning. December corn futures down 3/4 of a cent at 4.85. November soybeans down 4.5 at 13.64 and a half. December Chicago wheat down 3.25 at 5.81 and a quarter. December Kansas City wheat down 2.5 at 7.21 and a quarter. December spring wheat up 3 cents at 7.69 and 3/4. We had some news out of ADM Decatur here, which was actually out Monday. We're going to talk about it today.
So, corn and soybean processing at a key ADM facility has been halted following an explosion. On Sunday evening, an explosion occurred at an ADM soybean processing facility in Decatur, Illinois. The explosion resulted in a fire that injured 8 workers. The plant produces soybean oil and white flake for soybean protein production. The facility is currently sitting idle, and ADM's nearby corn processing facility is also closed temporarily. This is the second fire at the plant in the past 2 weeks, and the cause of the explosion is still under investigation.
This has some basis implications, certainly. ADM Decatur, as far as the corn ethanol plant, is the largest corn ethanol plant in the United States. 375 million gallons per year. That's the largest plant in the country. I'm not sure what the soybean processing capacity is, but I'm assuming it's pretty big also. So everything is shut down. Reuters reporting that basis bids for corn at Decatur dropped 35 cents from Friday through Monday, and they're reporting that soybean bids were flat. If you guys are in that area and you saw a big basis shift from, say, Friday to Monday, drop it in the YouTube comments. I'm assuming this is a deal that's going to kind of reverberate throughout that region because it's a big deal. And the last thing we need right now is additional basis issues given the river situation. As far as ADM goes, they've been very quiet about this. This is the second fire in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And they did have a statement on their website, which was like 3 sentences. They just said, yeah, there was a fire. It was extinguished. We're monitoring damage. And then they said the plants are down. They didn't talk much about when the plants would be back up or operational or that sort of thing. I would imagine ADM is going to have some issues with your government safety entities. You know who those people are. So I don't know. We'll hear some fresh news, I would imagine, maybe today, but this doesn't appear to be a good deal for the cash markets in particular if you guys are in that neck of the woods. If you have some updates, guys, drop them in the YouTube comments here.
U.S. corn and soybean ratings both declined last week. Both crops were rated 52% good to excellent nationally compared to 53% the prior week. U.S. corn harvest was 5% complete through Sunday. USDA did not issue a national soybean harvest statistic.
So last week was like the big drop in ratings where you saw the 5% drop in soybean ratings. And I think it was 3 in corn. The markets didn't care about it then, and they don't care about it now. You're to the point in the growing season where the crop ratings are not going to be, there's not going to be a market mover. You're far enough along. As it relates to corn harvest, Texas dragging up the national average, 62% harvested. Kansas is 17% done with corn. Missouri's 9% done. Look at your Corn Belt states, Illinois and Iowa, also Nebraska at 2%. No activity in Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, North Dakota, 1% for Minnesota and South Dakota also. So we're just getting started here with corn and soybean harvest. What about winter wheat?
So U.S. winter wheat planting has begun. The crop was 7% planted nationally through Sunday versus 7% on average. Most of the activity has occurred in the southern plains and northwest. Very little progress was noted in the SRW areas of the Midwest. The U.S. spring wheat crop was 87% harvested through Sunday versus 87% on average.
Yeah, so your big like HRW states, Kansas was 4% done through Monday. You look at Oklahoma, 5%, Texas, 7%, Colorado's 19%. So just getting started here in some of these areas. You go up to like the PNW, Washington's 29% done. So they're making some progress up in those areas as well.
So if you guys aren't already subscribed to our premium content, you need to do so. Joe, can you tell me about the video you put together yesterday about corn demand?
This is the first part of what's going to be a 2-part video series. So I did kind of a primer on why I'm optimistic about corn demand via ethanol yesterday. And then later this week, I believe it's going to be Thursday, Paul Neefer, the farm CPA, who is now a regular contributor with us here. We're super happy to have Paul on. Paul is going to run through the tax implications regarding sustainable aviation fuel. So we saw a story out last week that the Biden administration was essentially kicking the can down the road on this guidance that the Treasury Department was supposed to provide here in September. It's now going to be in December, but there's a lot riding on how the government is going to handle emissions as it relates to ethanol and sustainable aviation fuel. And it could be a big, big, big deal when it comes to demand. Paul's going to run through the ins and outs of that on, I believe, Thursday this week. And then also, guys, report day is a great day to be a subscriber. I'll have the highlights blasted out within 60 or 90 seconds of the release. And then we have a snapshot video out within 20 minutes. Go to standardgrain.com. You can sign up this morning, $50 per month. Cancel at any time. No other fee, no other obligation. Nobody will try to sell you anything else. Just a bunch of info direct from us every single business day, guys. Sign up this morning. I'll send you over a copy of this morning's email.
Water levels on the Mississippi River continue to fall. As of this morning, the level at Memphis was 9.2 feet below normal. Water levels are approaching last year's record low of 10.81 feet below normal. Draft and load restrictions are already in place in some areas. More are likely this week. Barge rates are up significantly versus normal and may move higher as row crop harvest begins. The forecast offers little rain for key areas of the river valley.
I had somebody have with a good YouTube comment yesterday. They asked, Joe, are the water levels really lower than 2012? And yes, they are. This is from weather.gov. These are the lowest levels on record at Memphis. The record low was 10.81 feet below normal October of last year. Second to that was 1988. That's a drought that some of you older, more experienced farmers may remember, was 10.7 feet below normal. And then 2012, we were 9.8 feet below normal. So actually, as of this morning, we're very, very close to the low from 2012. And I know 2012 was a hell of a lot drier than we are right now. I'm not sure exactly how these river levels work and all the ins and outs of that. But yeah, it was worse than 2012, both last year and also in 1988. And again, nothing really in the forecast. So this is going to be an issue in the cash market and maybe the futures market too as we move forward.
According to Ag Rural, soybean planting has started in Brazil. Soybean production is expected to rise 3% to a record 164 million metric tons this season down in Brazil. As of last Thursday, 93% of Brazil's second corn crop had been harvested. Also, as of last Thursday, 17% of the country's first corn crop for the current season had been planted, which is steady with last year's pace.
Mackenzie, we're almost to the point where we can stop showing weather maps of the Midwest every single day, and we can start looking at weather maps of Brazil every single day. We're going to get to that point here pretty soon. So this is your next weather market. For right now, yeah, monster soybean crop expected, 164 million, largest soybean crop that any country on the planet has ever produced. But you need weather to cooperate, and the weather will be a big deal. It'll be a driver of soybean prices in particular, for better or for worse. But be prepared for some sort of there's always some sort of crop scare rally, whether it's a big one or a small one. So that could be something that presents a marketing opportunity. They very often do.
So, as you mentioned a second ago, USDA will release its monthly crop production and WASDE report here at 11 a.m. Central Time. Ahead of the report, traders expect reduced U.S. corn and soybean production estimates compared to last month. Some traders expect acreage adjustments following the August FSA data. Of course, be prepared for some market volatility here this morning.
Okay, so the yield numbers are the big ticket items here, right? And we'll assume that the yield cuts happen as advertised. One thing that a lot of people believe, and I've seen this written 100 different places, the FSA acreage data from August implies that corn acreage may very well increase versus USDA's most recent estimate. And it's not by just a little bit. Some people are talking 400,000, 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 more corn acres. So that's something that would leave some of you guys very much upset if the yield number drops, but it's offset by a higher acreage number. And then we'll get into a debate about harvested acreage. There was abandonment. There was corn chopped for silage. The harvested acreage percentage is going to be lower. But that's something that could kind of come out of nowhere and surprise you today. Or maybe not surprise you because we're telling you about it. But be prepared for a higher corn acreage number. also be prepared potentially for some lower demand numbers. I'm not sure if they're going to touch demand or not. It probably, honestly, has a lot to do with what they do with the production numbers. But big report today. That's at 11 a.m. Central, guys.
USDA reported a flash sale of U.S. soybean cake and meal on Monday. U.S. exporters sold 185,000 metric tons of soybean cake and meal to the Philippines for delivery during the current marketing year.
We're going to have a lot of soybean meal, and we're not going to know what to do with it. So I'm happy that we've got the buying started. Not a huge amount, not anything that's going to move the needle in any of these markets, but given this crush expansion, yeah, we're doing it for the bean oil, but there's going to be a lot of meal out there that's going to need a home, and we're going to have to export more of it, I think.
U.S. corn shipments improved last week. USDA reported that 623,862 metric tons of corn were inspected for export during the week ending September 7th. The print was up 29% on the week and up 32% versus the same week last year. Soybean shipments declined 24% on the week, totaling 310,073 metric tons. Wheat shipments were reported at 406,181 metric tons, an increase of 28% compared to the previous week, but down a whopping 46% compared to last year.
Corn number here is actually pretty close to average versus the last few years, which is a victory in this world. You typically don't see your big uptick in corn shipments till after the first of the year. That would be normal. You take a look at this chart, first quarter into the second quarter is when you see your biggest corn shipping program out of the United States. So don't expect any miracles anytime soon. It's that time period after Jan 1 that'll kind of make or break this deal. What did cattle do yesterday?
Cattle futures rallied higher on Monday. We saw record highs in both feeder cattle and live cattle futures. Feeder cattle futures closed an average of $2.16 higher. Live cattle futures closed an average of 95 cents higher. Boxed beef had a down day. Choice ended the day at $310.11, which was down $2.79, but still the second highest price in all of history. Select ended the day at $285.44. That was down 61 cents.
Phenomenally strong stuff there. Outside markets this morning, guys, U.S. dollars up a little bit. Stocks are off marginally. Bonds close to flat. Crude oil is strong, up 73 cents, 88.02 in the October WTI. Everybody have a great day today. Remember, report at 11. We'll talk to you Wednesday.